Weapons of war. World War I saw the introduction of new and devastating weapons that revolutionised the nature of warfare and had a profound impact on the course of the conflict. Rifles. Bolt-action rifles were the standard infantry weapon used by soldiers on both sides of the conflict. Rifles such as the Lee Enfield and Springfield M1903 were widely used for long-range shooting. Machine guns. Machine guns played a significant role in World War I, providing high rates of fire and firepower. The Maxim gun, Vickers machine gun and Lewis gun were among the most common machine guns used in the war. Artillery. A wide range of artillery pieces were used for bombardments, shelling and support of infantry operations. Heavy artillery, field guns, howitzers and mortars were used extensively. Poison gas. Chemical weapons including poison gas such as chlorine, phosgene and mustard gas were used on large scales during World War I. Gas attacks caused widespread casualties and introduced a new form of terror on the battlefield. Flamethrowers. Flamethrowers were used to clear enemy trenches and fortifications. These weapons projected burning fuel to engulf enemy positions and cause casualties. Grenades. Hand grenades were widely used by infantry and soldiers for close-quarter combat and clearing enemy positions. Fragmentation grenades, rifle grenades and trench mortars were commonly used. Bayonets. Bayonets were attached to rifles and used for close combat and charges. The threat of bayonet charges added to the psychological impact of infantry assaults. The use of these weapons during World War I transformed the battlefield and contributed to high casualty rates and devastation of the conflict. The technological advancements and innovations in weaponry during the war laid the groundwork for modern warfare tactics and strategies. Chemical warfare. During World War I, poison gas was the most infamous and devastating weapons used on the battlefield. Chemical warfare introduced a new and terrifying dimension to the conflict, causing widespread casualties and leaving a lasting impact on soldiers and civilians. Types of poison gas. Chlorine gas. Chlorine was the first chemical weapon used in World War I. It was a choking agent that caused severe respiratory distress and could be fatal if inhaled in high concentrations. Mustard gas. Mustard gas, also known as sulphur mustard, was a blistering agent that caused burns, blisters and severe skin and eye irritation. Mustard gas was particularly insidious as it had delayed effects, often taking hours or days to manifest. Phosgene gas. Phosgene gas was colourless, odourless gas that caused severe damage to the respiratory system. It was deadlier than chlorine gas and was responsible for a significant number of casualties. Tear gas. Tear gas was used to incapacitate enemy troops by causing irritation to the eyes, nose and respiratory system. While less lethal than the other chemical agents, tear gas was still effective in disrupting enemy positions. Delivery methods. Poison gas was delivered to the battlefield in various ways, including artillery shells, canisters and cylinders. Gas attacks were often launched in conjunction with artillery bombardments to create confusion and maximise the impact of enemy forces. Gas clouds were released from canisters or cylinders and carried by the wind towards the enemy positions. The use of prevailing winds and weather conditions was crucial in determining the effectiveness of the gas attacks. Effects on soldiers. Soldiers exposed to poison gas suffered a range of debilitating symptoms, including respiratory distress, skin burns, blindness, and internal injuries. Gas attacks caused excruciating pain and terror among the troops, leading to panic and disarray in the affected units. Gas masks and protective clothing were developed to mitigate the effects of poison gas and provide some level of protection for the soldiers. However, the psychological impact of gas attacks was profound, instilling fear and trauma among the troops. International agreements. The use of chemical weapons during World War I led to international outrage and prompted efforts to ban the use of poison gas in future conflicts. The Geneva Protocol of 1925 prohibited the use of chemical and biological weapons in warfare. The use of poison gas during World War I represented a dark chapter in the history of warfare, highlighting the devastating consequences of chemical weapons on the battlefield. The legacy of chemical warfare in World War I continues to serve as a stark reminder of the horrors and inhumanity of modern warfare.